Hey everyone, December the 4th, and I just want to show you my star. Now, I don't know if I put it at the right angle. I struggled with this with Lego because it's a funny shape anyway. So I thought I'm going to be a bit imaginative, creative, and if you look at it that way, it should look a little bit like a star. I hope anyway. I hope you had a good old try at building or drawing a star. So let's find out why today's symbol is a star. Let's read our story today. A long time after Noah died, another man had a soft heart towards God. His name was Abram, and he was married to Sarai. They had always wanted children but hadn't been able to have any. And they were way too old to have babies. So that's part of what makes this story and God's promise to Abram really amazing. One day, God told Abram to leave the home where he'd always lived and begin travelling and not to stop until God told him. Abram obeyed God. He and Sarai packed up all their stuff and left, heading in the direction God told them to go. They left home without even knowing where he was taking them. That's how much Abram believed and loved God. After a very long time of travelling, they came to a beautiful land with all sorts of plants and trees that made food. But this land also had people living there, people who didn't want to share the land with Abram and his family. But God told Abram to take a good look around. God promised that one day he was going to give Abram this land. But he wasn't just going to give it to Abram, he was going to give it to Abram's family. One that would grow to include a son, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. Wait, did God say Abram was going to have grandchildren and a whole huge family? Abram didn't have any children, and he and Sarai were too old to have babies anymore, remember? Well, Abram knew that, but he believed God because God had just made him a promise, and Abram knew God always keeps his promises. Abram bowed down and made a special place there to worship God because he believed that one day God would give him the special, beautiful land. But not yet. God told Abram and Sarai to keep going, so they obeyed and travelled on. One day there was a battle and one of Abram's family members was taken by God's enemies. Abram knew that God would protect them, so he gathered all his male servants and family members and led them into battle. His army sneaked up on the bad guys at night, and God protected his people. They won the battle easily. In fact, Abram was so successful that the king of the land offered a blessing to him and to God because the king knew that Abram must be blessed by God. After that, God told Abram not to be ever afraid because God would always be by his shield. But Abram was still sad that he and Sarai didn't have any children. He didn't understand how God could make a big family come from them and give them a special land where there were no children to start the family. God told Abram to go outside and look up at the night sky. It was as black as could be, except for the stars that glittered all across it. More stars than Abram could count. God promised that one day Abram and Sarai would indeed have a child, and from that child there would be grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and on until there were more children than all the stars in the sky. God told Abram that those children would be God's children too, his special chosen people. Even though Abram didn't know how that could be true or possible, he knew that God always tells the truth. So Abram believed God and worshipped him, knowing that one day he would have a child and his family would live in the beautiful land God had promised to his people. And God was very pleased that Abram believed. So that's why our decoration today has got stars on it. So let me just... It's a bit fiddly today, and more fingers and thumbs. Let me hang it here so that we can see our stars. Let's find out what is on my advent calendar today. Oh, it's stuck on the back. I can't get it off. It is a donkey. So I'm going to put the donkey to join the little lamb. There we go. Our picture is building up. So let's read the next part of our Christmas story. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. That's what the angel went on to say to Mary. You're going to have a baby boy, and you're to call him Jesus. Well, talking about babies, my challenge for you tomorrow is to draw or build a baby. A baby out of Lego? Let's see what I come up with. Before we go, let's have a prayer together and do a big amen at the end. Dear God, thank you that you gave Abram the promise of all the children, grandchildren and everything. Thank you, God, that he believed in you, he trusted you, and you were with him always. And thank you, God, that you are with us always, every day, every moment, no matter where we are. Amen. See you tomorrow.